or beat.
I
So
get
my
you.
form doesn't go right. So what I'm like is, right, well, I know I need to be on fucking 8 plates aside, 10 plates aside for leg press. And although I know roughly where I'm at, what I'm trying to not do is go into the set thinking, right, I need 11, I need 11.
Yeah.
Because that's where the issue comes for us. You end up, if you know you get close to 11 and you're going to fail, and you're not going to get that extra rep, that's when your form can sort of slip.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is I'm logging the weight and the rough and the right number of reps, but then I'm not looking at it. So I'm just going to all out failure and then making a note if I've got more or not. And that seems to be saving my joints
Yeah.
quite a bit.
What I found worked really well was when me and Hilly used to work together ages ago. Feels like a long time ago. I would write the logbook before the gym, and every week I would progress everything by either a rep or weight, right? And once I hit 15 reps, I would then progress the weight and drop the reps back down to 8.
That's
But I
all
would,
I do.
Yeah, but
I
you
would
can't
set
always
the
do that though, can you? Like,
no, but you can if you only. I would do it. So if I did 13 reps on 100 kilo, I would say right 14 because I knew I was going to hit that. I'd never go past it. It hit 14, and next week I hit 15. This way I'm not doing too much. I'm just progressing, and then next week I'm progressing it again. So
I
you're
don't
not
know, I can't see
overdoing
how
it.
that's possible every single workout. I don't know. See,
But
I've
I'm
never worked
elite.
like that. I've never done like numbers and shit. Even like in powerlifting, which is meant to be a lot more technical, I'll just go in the gym and I'll just be like, oh, I can lift that today, and I'll get stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't
That's-
see how that, especially once you start to get really fucking strong. Let's say on that, especially if you do like 2 rotations, maybe. But if you're just doing like a single rotation, no chance.
That's what I'd be doing. Because we're a bunch of fucking retards. We were all just chasing 6 plate squats and a 6.5 plate deadlift.
Yeah.
But when we got it, and we were hitting it for like 2, 3. We then backed off. Then say like a 4 plate, ran the reps up, and then we'll go again. So we did like I suppose it's similar to like a powerlifting block. Like we got up to that total load, and then the next week we'll back that back down. Say instead of 6.5, we'll do 5. Keep the volume a little bit higher, which are a little bit fresher, then go again. I won't lie, it's kind of copying what Jordan does to a degree, but obviously he's just way stronger than us.
It's really it's the whole ethos is behind Jordan's sort of approach.
Yeah.
And it's what people were always doing for a long sort of time. Is that say you've got a rep range where you know hypertrophy starts sort of 6 to 8 and upwards. So if you hit a set and you want to do 2 work sets, I think where Jordan's mind is like, well, if I only get the bottom end or if I go short, then I'll just do the second work set as a lighter weight and make sure I hit the rep range. And that's how we work set and back off. So like for me now, I'm doing exactly what was said, which is what we did ages ago. And this is just as much to save my joints this as anything else. Instead of having like 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 rep ranges, all I'm doing is making a note of what I'm lifting. Once I get 15 or 16 reps, then I'll increase the weight. But I'm not increasing the weight. So the 2 reasons are, for one, it's giving me a longer progression at the same weight. So instead of as soon as I hit 12 reps, heavier. As soon as I hit 12, heavier. Because I think that's how that's trying to prolong the lifespan of my joints.
Yeah.
So it's giving me 3 or 4 more weeks, 5 more weeks of able to grow at the same weight. And then if say I increase the weight and I only get 6 or 8, then I'll do a back off set to sort out to go the high rep range. And then if I'm doing a second set where I want more volume, so delts, shoulders, arms, if I only get 10 or 12, then I'll back the weight off. If I'm getting 12 or 15, I'll stick at the same weight. So it's all pretty similar.
I worked out that's where we're fucked because a few of us had to tap out and take a couple of days deload because we've been at it for a while. But I kind of pinpointed that the thing that we do really stupidly is our back offsets. So like I'm always comfortable on my heavier combines. I work in a 6 to 8 rep range. But then the back offset, obviously, we're dropping down by a plate and then doing like 12, 14, 15 reps. That's what kills us off because it just destroys you. Like, that's what we need to have to load, control it a little bit more, and then try and kind of, what I always say, fail early. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of getting 14 reps with a plate down, take 3 plates off, really milk it a little bit, and then try and fail to that 10 to 14 rep range. And then you're not destroying your CNS any more than it already is, because I think you can recover better then.
Yeah,
I drop it down by 25 to 30%. So if you're doing 4 plates, you pull a plate off.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do 6, then you're going to pull more off. It's So it's
that's why I've been trying to like feel out if that makes sense, like a fixed number of all of it. But we've been doing a lot of like because I always do like fluff work before my compounds. We've been doing a lot of the back offsets first on the fluff work. So like on leg extensions, as an example, we'll do our back offset first, nice high volume, and then do a single set at like 6 to 8 reps, destroy them, and then go on to the compound. Same with pet flies or lateral raises.
And I've always, in my mind, every time I've always done a back off set, it hasn't just been a little bit lighter for more reps. It's always been a little bit more than that, little bit lighter.
Yeah.
With a slower negative, maybe with a pause in the
Yeah.
Really trying, like you say, to make each rep harder than it was, not just a little bit less weight for a little bit more reps. Because I think it's saving your joints and it's saving your CNS. It's not fucking killing you from
Yeah. Exactly.
You lot are not using enough steroids. That's why CNS can't recover. Should I cover some questions?
Let's whack it through some
Yeah, we
questions.
got fuck loads of questions, haven't we, for the past couple of weeks?
Yeah. I received them all.
Deck, what are you doing Sunday?
Bum. Like you, Riz, I don't know what I'm doing fucking for breakfast, mate. I have no clue. What are you doing Sunday?
I'm gonna go PCH show Sunday. Hilly's gonna go as well.
Oh, which one is it?
Coventry.
What am I doing on Sunday? Nothing, I don't think.
I'm gonna go watch Shamp's show, then I got to shoot. Where's the questions?
Right, I've got some questions here. So, Dan Bastic's question: who wins in a fight, 150 mg of Tren or 500 mg of Primo? Who's your money on?
150 mega trend without down. It's not even comparable.
I saw that when I saw that question. I'm like, but wait, hold on. But why did he put Primo? Why 500 Primo? Like, that's what I want to know, because obviously he's got a reason behind why he wants to compare Primo. In what regard? Like,
I think that's a good kind of starter volume, isn't it? In a sense, I think that's where he's getting this from. 150 meg of Tren is kind of the norm. 500 to 600 meg of Primo is kind of the norm. A mill a day, or however you're pinning it. Obviously, Dan knows this as well. I think he's asking for entertainment purposes because they're not comparable at all.
Yeah.
But obviously, you boys know I love the Tren, so it wouldn't even compare for me. And I put a little bit of Primo in now, and I will say, because as you boys know, I stopped using Primo for a while, because obviously me and Hilly kind of found the sweet spot, and I put 50 meg a day in a Primo, and there is definitely a fullness benefit, 100% to it. I've seen that for sure.
You've always said that.
You know what,
yeah.
I'll say this with Tren. I don't know if you get the same, but like, let's say you put the Tren in, and the first couple of weeks you're like fucking at it, and then it starts to kind of like taper off a little bit. Whereas with Primo, I kind of feel like it's a lot more consistent. So if, let's say, for argument's sake, you're running Tren for 12 week and Primo for 12 week, maybe Primo might give you more longer term progression compared to the Tren, which kind of tends to drop off a little bit.
Yeah.
If you put more Tren in, it just starts to give you more side effects at that point.
Well, it does it. This is. I keep seeing, like, I've seen a couple of stories. I think that Louis Blackmore put. Someone asked him about EQ, and obviously he said everyone's going to die if you touch it and that sort of stuff. And the volume of people I speak to, removing the retarded kids who are from America and do these weird podcasts like, I did 100 milligram of Tren and I killed my wife, wanted to commit suicide, ignoring those people that don't exist from planet Earth. The people who I trust that have knowledge to explain how they feel and their biofeedback and things like that, I don't really see it from people. The majority are quite comfortably running higher doses of Tren, like we spoke to Tofton, who run 700 meg in the off season with no problem.
I think the issue is, bro, you've got mentally unstable people anyway, and they like to blame something. It's like when you take gear for the first time, and you're like, I got a spot. Is it the gear? Oh no, I hit my wife. Is it the gear? No, mate, it's you. It's you. It's very easy to blame something.
For sleep, for example, on Tren, you're definitely going to get like.
I don't get it.
That's one of the things that I get with Tren, like sleep. So if you can't sleep, then arguably you're better off running Primo. Because again,
of course,
maybe not at 150 meg, but as you start to push it up higher.
But he did say not a pillow fight. He said a fight. Like, we ain't having a cuddle. Like, we were going to war.
Yeah. But the fact he's mentioned 500 mg of Primo and 150 Tren, that is the answer for you. You're having to use more Primo to get the same rewards as less drug of Tren.
In true BMS podcast fashion, the correct answer is run them both.
Yeah, I'm just going to say
we know, just so everybody knows, that is the general consensus.
Fashion, it's add EQ to the mix, whichever one you pick.
Yeah. Riz is getting out of this podcast very soon. I'm taking over because he's not running EQ at the moment.
I don't need to use EQ no more. My gyno's gone. Knows no more estrogen issues. Straight testage me everywhere.
I just love the way you slammed MPP straight in.
No messing
I
about.
mean, I used to see my blood work share. My prolactin was decent, Hilly,
Good,
right?
yeah.
For once.
Everything
But
was
look at my E2 for cruise.
Massive.
it was still high.
It's already 350, bro. That's probably why I feel so good when I'm cruising.
Next question. Recovery from a major pectoral tear. Any advice for recovery?
Well, that's the only guy who's got torn
Or both
pec.
of them.
Yeah.
You got Hilly and Chad.
There isn't one.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you tear a pec, you're fucked. Even if you get it repaired, that's it. Like and this is the thing, right? People go, oh, my pec's torn. Tearing a pec is nothing like tearing a hamstring. Not that I've ever torn a hamstring, but I feel like a hamstring injury is a lot easier to come back from compared to a pec. That's going to affect your lats. It's going to affect your shoulders. Which is
Is that because of the type of tear? Normally in the hamstring is in the belly, but when you obviously rupture your pec, like it's that tendon that goes and
I
you
think
have like
because it's a connection. It connects to so many.
Yeah.
Even my traps, right? Like the traps get so tight. Like
does,
it's connected to everything. It's connected to your. And again, like you're gonna get imbalance. So your training is fucked. You tear your pec, you're fucked. Like you're never gonna train the same.
It affects, I think, like Jimmy said, because the shoulder joint's a ball and socket joint, and there's so much attached to it, and the pec's included in that. Once you lose that stability and strength from this, if you're still trying to do the same exercises, it's making everything around that work harder or in the wrong pattern. So it's exactly the same as Julie said. For me, if I try and do any shoulder pressing, I've got a constant niggle in this trap all of the time.
Yeah.
Because there's no real pec. So everything else is having to work harder than the other side. I only train the one side, don't I, because this is so badly torn. So I end up with tension at this side in my lat. If I'm doing a one-arm pull down, or an overhand pull down, I can't go as far up with the right arm as I can with the left because it starts to pull at the top. I mean, bear in mind, mine's the belly that's torn and there's about 15% of it or 10% of it left attached. If I'm doing, do you know the one-arm seated pull-down machines? I've got to stay in a shorter range of motion with the right arm, so I've got to try and match that with the left. I can't really, if I'm doing bent over rows or anything, I've got to sort of be careful of the pec. So it does affect everything. Now the question says how to manage mentally. So for me, you've just got to sort of get your head around two things. Exactly as Chubby says, it's going to make everything more difficult. You've just got to accept that and be like, listen, I'm still focused on my physique. I'm still focused on making progress. I'm still bigger now than I ever have been, and I look better on stage last year than I ever have done in my life. There's barely any of my pec left attached. I've got 2 slip discs, a slight break in my spinous process, and I'm 30 So the reality is, doesn't matter the injury, you can still continue to make progress and look better than you ever have done. It is just about how much effort you are willing to put in.
See, I'm going to argue that because any shot that you hit, you just look at that pec. Any shot that you're going to hit. And
Not really, bro.
yeah. No. I do. That's
you yourself.
Yeah. For me, like, and again, like you've lot seen shots, and you're like, I can't see it. I'm like, but I can because it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, like
that was like Riz's gyno, though, wasn't it? Like nobody would have fucking seen it, but it just plays in his head, you know.
Yeah. And I'll say this as well: if you love training if you love training heavy, which was my thing, like benching 200 kilo barbell bench. I was like overhead pressing 140 kilo. Forget about doing that. So for someone like myself, like it killed the joy of training anything upper body because you just can't. So at that point, training is going to become a lot less fun. That's just a given. Because if you find fun in training heavy, then
that's like it for me. So I used to love to deadlift and pull 6 plates, whatnot off the floor. Slip my discs, so I can't do that because of my slip discs. I can't squat heavy, can't do any bench press sort of shit. And like Trudy says, that for a while that sucked the fun out of it. But it's literally you find a way to make amusement. You find a way. So like my chest and shoulder sessions suck a little bit because I can't do any proper pressing, can't do any pressing that way. So chest and shoulders I go and do in a different gym. I train at David Lloyd's. So it's a different mindset. I use different kit. It's not the most enjoyable session, but I find ways of making it as enjoyable as possible. And then I go to Ultraflex for the sessions where I can kill it and I can push hard. And that's how mentally I found a way around it.
And it also dependent as well. Like you two are speaking from pretty bad tears. Like, it seems to be a common trend on social media at the moment. Like, oh, I tore this, and like a week later they're back training that muscle. It's like, mate, it's a micro tear. You just pulled it, twinged it a little bit. You know,
No, we're
there's
talking
a
about
very big
a full-on tear.
Straight
rupture,
off.
like
Proper
yeah,
tear.
off, yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying all of this just to justify his fucking half reps on back. Fucking faggot.
Listen, right? This is why I always say to people, like, be careful with that pec. Like, I think any other muscle that you can tear, it's not as bad. I'm going to say that tearing a pec is the worst muscle to tear because it just affects everything, and you're not going to look right. You're going to look off balance. So this is why I always say to people, when I see some people like training stupid, and I'm like, if you tear that pec, that's it. You're done. You're fucked.
I think pec and a rupture in the quad.
I think the quad's
Because you
not as
lose it,
bad.
don't you?
Because like you've seen people come back from that, and it's like you rupture the quad fully, and you get it stitched back up.
Yeah, I suppose fucking Branch Warren did it as well, didn't he? And he came back and then won the Olympics.
What the fuck was off, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what it is, Luke? I agree with you, because with anything else, it like biceps. If you tear it clean off the bone, when you reattach it, I've had clients have theirs reattached.
It looks better.
Once they're back in the gym, within 9 months they're on fucking stage. Nathan Diasher.
Nathan looks better with it, yeah. It looks mental.
I think anything else, because of the way the muscle sits on the bone, the way you pause, it's not as noticeable. With the pec, it not only is it you're unable to pull it back so it looks similar, it does affect so many fucking shots it's harder to hide.
Chest is always open as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's stretched out as well, yeah.
And name one bodybuilder with a torn pec. You got Labrada, right? Okay, but even that's going to hold him back, because if he didn't have that torn pec, how much better he would look. Name one bodybuilder who's torn a pec and is doing well or has come back from it. There aren't. How many people have quads and hamstrings and all sorts? The pec's the one.
Kevin
The
Levone.
hamstring normally comes back better as well.
Kevin Levone's the only one I can think of.
But he's a superhuman. He doesn't even count.
Yeah.
Like he's not even like he's not immortal. Like he's not one of us. That's for sure.
And even him, he had his stitch back up. So I think I would say a full tear is probably better. Like, because I didn't tear mine, I tore the belly of the muscle, which is annoying because you can't fix it.
No, you did the exact same thing. Man ripped straight through the belly. He was like, it's one of the rarest tears you'll see. And he literally, because they thought I'd detached my tendon, so they put me to sleep to reattach the fucker. When I woke up, I thought it was sound, and the nurse was like, oh no, they didn't have to do anything. And I was like, what do you mean? And the way he explained it was, he said, your muscle's a bit like a paintbrush. He said, look at it that simple. He said, I could stitch it back together for you, but he said, you'd never be able to use it or train properly like you normally do. He said, because the chances of it tearing again. He said, with a tendon tear, or he said, if it's, so you've got the tendon to the bone, which can just come off the bone. Yeah. So you put it back, reattach it.
And that's when it like ravels down, isn't it? That's when it comes, yeah.
He said, you've got a musculotendinous tear, so that's where the muscle meets the tendon. He said, and it pulls away a certain amount. And he said the same thing again, then they can almost stitch it back to the tendon and it'll pull out a bit. He said, but it's very rare to rip the muscle, the belly of the muscle in two. And he said, because it's all muscle fibers, he said, it's not. You're not
going to be able to attach it to look clean again, are you? Like a smooth muscle belly.
That was why I used the paintbrush. He said, your muscle fibers are like paintbrush bristles.
Yeah.
He said, imagine trying to stitch the fucker together and using it again.
Can't you put a bit of turbojet in it, Hilly?
Hell fucking yes, son.
I do put turbojet in it. I do.
No, you put turbocharged in it, bro.
Oh, you mean the thing? See, so when I've thought about doing that, because it's ripped in because the belly, the muscle of the belly is ripped in two, I don't think it would work right, because technically I've got two parts of the muscle sat like that, so there's no muscle in the middle to put it in. So if I put it in one side or the other side, you're going to end up with this sort of lopsided effect.
It will just accentuate the tear, if anything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so yours, both sides. With Hilly's, you can't do. With mine, you probably could, because I've just got a hole, so you could just fill the hole. But because then I've got like when you flex it, you get like a roll effect, so it kind of like bulges out, and I think that would make it look worse.
I think so. Yeah.
Once you've torn it, that's it. There's no point. Just quit doing whatever you're trying to do.
Hilly is still taking head tops with one pec, blood.
Yeah, and the fucking breaking my spine. So
yeah,
as well.
Yeah. So next question: all bloods in control. How lean to get before bringing in Clen whilst in a diet phase?
What?
The leaner you are, the better it's going to be, in my opinion.
You can bring training at the start of the diet phase.
Yeah,
if you-
exactly. Yeah, the
But
nutrition
also,
portion
like
really
a lot
does
of
make
us
it.
now run training in the off season. So what's the
You don't need to be in any point of body fat to bring in any drugs. For me, it depends what you're trying to do. If I've got a client that's just trying to get lean lifestyle, or we're in an offset, or it's a competitive but in a mini cut, I don't mind using training for the full duration because it's a mini cut, because it will speed up fat loss. It'll allow us to push harder in the short term. If it is a prep cycle, say you've got 16 weeks or 20 weeks, I don't like to start with trend, because for the majority of people, it does start to build up toxicity early, and it does start to affect sleep for most of us. So if I've got someone in prep, I don't want to start building toxicity early or knocking off sleep earlier than is needed to be. So I would rather milk other drugs, maybe wait till 12 weeks out, 13 weeks out, 14 weeks, and then bring in the trend from then, personally.
I think another thing is that like I said, I don't know if you guys find that, but for me, if I put Tren in, the first couple of weeks, I'm like, you can tell, right? It's in, and then it starts to taper off. So I feel like if you put it in towards the end, you're going to get more of a performance benefit.
When you need it, when your food's a bit low.
And me and Dan Bastic were talking about this today. I think that you should be putting drugs in when you diet in order to comp prep. When you need them, it shouldn't be based on how many weeks out or what someone else has done. It should be sort of, well, there's our base load based on where your blood work is, based on where you want your estrogen, your test, what you're trying to achieve. And then if you notice performance is starting to drop, you might bring in the trend then. You might bring in Anavar to support your training sessions. If you feel that you need to really ramp up fat loss because you're a bit behind, so you want more anabolic androgenic support to protect the muscle, you might put trend in there. You should be adding drugs to achieve a purpose and to fix an issue, or fix something that's, performance drops a bit, you need to fix it, put another drug in. You need to speed up fat loss, put another fat loss drug in. There should be rhyme and reason for things going in based on the progress. It shouldn't just be, we take this at 16 weeks out, we change this at 12 weeks, we change this at 8, we change this.
Yeah.
That's like an old school cycle.
Yeah, if I'm looking at a client's physique and I'm seeing that their back glute, a good example of this is Bob Waterhouse. So I do Bob's off-season stuff, and then I do his drugs and his training during prep. He works with, I forget her name, she does all of his diet. Bob seems to hold more fat in his posterior, so in his back, glutes, hands. So we know that when someone's got stubborn areas, bringing their estrogen down is the only real way to dig at stubborn areas, in my experience, and most people agree. So so for Bob as a prime example, once we start getting the 8 weeks out, and we're noticing that the front and the quads, the whole front look and side looks coming in really quick, but the back's lagging, I will then look at that and be like, right, that's an issue. So what do we do to speed that up? So I'll start lowering his estrogen potentially earlier than I would someone else, or lowering it harder, so maybe more Arimidex or adjusting his stack, because there's an issue. So we're changing the drugs, we're adding the drug, we're adjusting things to fix the issue. And it needs to be person dependent, not just this. We do this at 6 weeks, we do this at 4 weeks, we do this at 10. Things are way more advanced than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because we've got more. Next question was the best health supplements to take on cycle. For me, there isn't best health supplements. I prefer people to be covering their bases all around. So as I use Trained by JP stuff, I think vital support, heart care and love heart should be everybody's bare minimum. Outside of that, it depends on how complex or what your blood work says. Don't just think you should be throwing everything at it, but the bodies might be different.
Yeah, I do the same. I run the full JP stack, a bit of krill oil, vitamin C. I think that's really it. Yeah.
What was the question again? If you're on a budget,
Best health stack.
Just the best health supplements to take when you're on cycle.
if you want to get the most bang out of your book and you are limited money too, take citrus bergamot by itself and curcumin by itself. You'll get more value for your money. You'll probably get 2 months worth at a very, very good dosage. That, in my opinion, they're the staples that I like to use year round. I add them on top of JP's vital support and all that.
I think for me, if you look at all of this stuff or most of this stuff in that health stack, those three supplements, I say this all the time, we were all buying.
100%. Yeah. It just simplifies it.
I've got a screenshot somewhere on my phone of the things that I was buying like a decade ago. When Amoebas had the same thing, it was costing me 180 quid a month a decade ago. And I was basically, and this is all Jordan did when he worked on the formulas. He looked at what we all were taking, and he looked at where to get the best quality of what we were taking and what would make it better. And I don't like to only ever just recommend Churn by JP, so it doesn't look like I'm trying to push people to buy my mate's stuff or the company I work for.
Code Hilly10.
Yeah, code Hilly10, no, don't forget that. But
Yeah, on engineered muscle too.
engineered muscle as
No,
well, yeah.
10 on that one, guys. Come on, we discussed this.
If you use Peptide, I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Supplement needs also make a very good quality product. So
Stop it! Stop talking! I'm kicking him out the fucking chat now.
But when you look at cost and value, there is nothing in the supplement field, in no country, nowhere in the world, that is as good quality and better value for money as the Train by JP Health Stack.
And
It's impossible to beat.
Even just being able to buy it in a bulk pack on the website, it just makes the biggest difference. You go on once a month, click. He needs to hurry up and get like a subscription payment. So just send it out once a month. I don't know why he hasn't done that yet. But you can go there.
He needs to do one.
Jordan, actually, I miss it because it is a great idea.
I told Hilly he needs to tell JP to do one, which has got the heart care and the fucking curcumin and the omegas in it, and call it the ultimate health stack.
Yeah.
Because I just buy that, bro. Because I have to buy them individually. Just do all the fucking big health ones in a normal stack and then an advanced stack.
Yeah, they should do like organ support, like they do. It's the health stack, isn't it? And then make like a health stack plus, which will have the curcumin and everything
health
else.
Stack plus blood pressure, whatever. But you see, the only issue with some of them blends is, no knock at JP, I use all this shit. I wanted to use a bit more of that heart care, but I couldn't because that nattokinase fucking smashes my head, yeah?
Yeah.
It makes me feel a bit like...
wavy.
Like hypo-y, yeah?
Yeah.
So I have to buy separate stuff and then add it on top.
I will say, JP supplements, though, you know me, I'm not bougie around fucking proteins and stuff and all that sort of shit. I've never been fussed with that sort of stuff, but his caramel coffee whey protein is a fucking joke. It is peak.
What is that? Is that what's ISO or what is it?
It's the combined protein one. It's the blend, but not the mocha one. It's the caramel coffee, but it's fucking nice, man.
I tell you what, he is bringing out. So he has found some super high grade whey isolate that is more high grade than the one they've got, and he's releasing it in fruity flavors. I think should be super dropped soon. And
is that hydro iso?
I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but I don't think so.
Well, that's like that clear way that a lot of companies.
Yeah. It's not just like a normal clear way. He said it is.
It'll be like Pepto Pro to a degree, won't it? We like
I've
that shit.
always hated them clear ways. Like, maybe I just only tried my protein.
I'm just too fat, man. I need it to be like some sort of substance of food. You know what I mean? That's why I don't drink them.
See, I don't know whether the normal clear way is always a funky, because it's generally just a milky powder that they sort of try to turn into a fruity thing. Whereas I'm not sure what Jordan was saying is because of the way this is, it's actually more suited to the fruity, clearer flavours than it is the other ones because of the way. I don't know. But he's adamant in terms of digestion and stuff. It's fucking up.
A lot of the current fruity ones as well, they don't have leucine in, do they? They're not the full chain of aminos. They're always missing the leucine. So maybe he's got a different source for it.
Apparently it's not cheap, and apparently it's not easy to get, but it's unbelievable. So he said.
Yeah.
A good question that we ran about in the group was different approaches to using Clen. What is everyone's favourite method and why? The older school methods are 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 days on, 2 weeks off. And then we mentioned in the group expanding on this as the people use it in off-season or female use and whatnot, because we thought it would be a good topic.
Yeah, there's a few school of thoughts to this. I really liked what Riz said last time that he did with Martin. That made sense to me, obviously. When the 2 days on, 2 days off thing, that was pre anybody real having knowledge around if the receptors downregulate, wasn't it? We know that's kind of not the case anymore.
It was like a Dandy Shane type theory.
Yeah.
They just ran with it, It was almost like us experimenting with turboject. It's like, we just kind of just run with it,
It's the same thing with like generic GH at the moment. People think if you hold a boatload of water and get bad hands, it's good GH. That's not true. Like, the side effects don't mean it's good. Like, they're a side effect, and ultimately, as they don't downregulate, yes, you don't get the side effects, but the fat loss effects of the beta-2 agonist, they continue. So there are multiple things you can do. Everyone knows you can run ketofen to stay as sensitive, if you like, or keep being sensitive on it. But I think it all works. It all has its purpose. With myself or clients, I will run a continuous dose. I will start small and I will cycle it up to a 120, 140, 160 if needs be at a max dose. But I don't do the 2 days on, 2 days off, all that sort of stuff. What about you boys?
I think that it's either what you just said, or what I like to do is, let's say, like across a period of time, you taper it and then you drop it. Drop it down to you got like a base dose. Let's say your base is 80, and you might like ramp it up and then you drop it, ramp it up and you drop it. But I wouldn't pull it all together, because I think that can, especially like when you're in a deep deficit diet, especially as you're very lean, your obviously metabolism's down regulated quite a lot. So I think pulling your Clen, completely, that's going to have a good amount of effect on your energy balance. So I feel like that's not the greatest way of
And
doing
the
it.
first few days are the fucking worst. Like, I want the side effects to be gone. Like, I don't want to be shaking around like a fucking shitting dog for the next 8 months of prep. Do you know what I mean? I kind of want those side effects to be gone and the fat loss to continue as soon as possible.
What I like to do is, so if the food's here and the Clen is here, we push the Clen up. Then when we hit that peak dosage and we need to have a food drop, I pull the food,
I like that.
restart
That makes sense to me.
restart the Clen, come back up, restart the Clen, and sometimes we keep it in a bit longer. Sometimes I might pull it. It's just, I think it's person dependent, right? But I think the 2 days on, 2 days off does work very well. I've done it with Hilly before. 2 days Clen, 2 day ECA stack, 2 day Clen. That works sick. And you can constantly keep using the high dosage.
So I've gone full circle with this. So because I've been doing this so long, the initial approach, and everybody did it, was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks on ECA stack, or 2 days on, 2 days off. And then everybody, like what Dex said, and I would say the same thing. We just got a better understanding that we didn't deregulate, and you could keep running it for a longer time. But then the more I've come to understand it, the more I read. When you look at the half-life of Clen and it builds up, it's about 36 hours anyway. So if you're taking 2 days on and 2 days off, or you're never really actually off the Clen, you're just dropping a bit down. So you're doing that sort of cycling anyway. If you're looking at pathways of fat loss, the way ECA stack works and Clen works are completely different. So the 2 days on, 2 days off, and then the 2 offs on ECA actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because if you look at the studies of the effect of ephedrine, particularly on fat loss, which there's more studies on that if you go back than anything else, the impact and the effect of ephedrine on fat loss is dramatic. And it was something bodybuilders did for ages. Where I've actually gone, and initially I got this off AJ, who made me realise that you can be even more, you can ease into your Clen dose and even more so, is now I get people to start with an every other day approach. So my mindset is start the Clen a bit earlier and keep the food a little bit higher. And I'll have people say, right, instead of bringing the Clen in at maybe week 15 or week 16, I might come in at week 18 with it and just do females 20 micrograms, males 40 micrograms every other day. And that will allow me to keep food a bit higher for longer, but I'm not going in at that straight daily dosing. So it's allowing me, the way I'm seeing it is, it's just allowing more enhanced fat loss while food is higher.
Yeah.
And then I'll go from every other day to every day. So I've managed to use the Clen for 4 or 5 weeks longer than I normally would. But when I go to the daily dose, I'm still getting that additional effect. And then I taper up the dose slowly from there.
Why is everyone so scared of the duration of use? Because if you think about Clen in medical terms, and again, like, yes, we're not talking about, no one with like no asthmatic is going to be using 200 mcgs of Clen, right? But even still, Clen is something that's not designed to be used in the short term. It's like it's a drug that's predisposed to be used long term. So why is the duration? It's not like Tren. The duration shouldn't really be an issue.
And also, mate, the study in rats, like, I know it's rats, but obviously that's where most of the nerds spout their literature from, and it's not on human trials, I get that. But the study on rats is something like the equivalent dose of like 640 micrograms for like 12 weeks with 0 heart damage. Like, it can be ran fairly safely. And we can plug them if you like. Joe Physique Collective has done a big piece on this, I think, around Clenbuterol, like an ebook or something along those lines. But I know he cites those studies in there, but I've looked at them myself as well. Like, I think it's a very, fairly low risk drug
Yeah.
if you don't have existing exposure to it. And from my understanding from the science, where people have abused narcotics, drugs like that before, I think that's where it can have a higher or negative impact on your health. But there are also lots of positives to it as well. And we kind of touched on this, didn't we? I think it's fairly commonplace, from my understanding, in America that they will use it in a very low dose in the off season to drive diuresis. Quite simply, obviously, when you're using kind of anabolics, it obviously will spike estrogen, make you hold a bit of fluid subcutaneously. They'll use that also with it to help with digestion, I suppose, burning calories, performance.
Blood pressure.
Yeah, it's used in off-season circumstances. We all mentioned kind of with females as well. So actually, to say that, even in cruises, with a lot of my clients, like I'll buy a small amount of Clen in, 40, 60 micrograms of Clen in. Again, it's said to have anti-catabolic properties, and also it helps performance a little bit as they're kind of obviously coming off drugs. It
helps performance a lot because it's going to increase your oxygen capacity, isn't it? So if you're, the reason a lot of times when we're doing the high rep stuff, it's not muscular failure. A lot of the times is because you're gassed out.
Gassed out, yeah.
So, if it's going to increase your oxygen capacity even a little bit, well, that's a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a tolerable drug as well. So because it doesn't really have it doesn't have any toxicity. You can cycle it in and out, and it works immediately. Like Dex said, if you're in a cruise or you're doing a short tidy up, if you're doing a mini cut and you tidying up, the first thing you want to really be doing is dropping Clen in.
Yeah.
Because it's instantly increasing your metabolic rate, so you're instantly burning more calories. It's pulling a bit of fluid off because we know it has a diuretic effect, and it's increasing your cardiovascular capacity, and it's not hampering anything else. And if anything, it may have slightly very mild anti-catabolic properties. So it's one of those drugs that is not causing anybody any issues. If anything, it's adding to several different areas, and it's enhancing fat loss from that day. So it's a very tolerable drug, I think.
The only thing is the sleep that could cause some people issues because obviously it is.
Where's he gone?
It can, or at least I found, but maybe not at 40. But it is still a stimulant. So that's
say that all again, Chuds.
It's a stimulant.
Say that again, Chuds. You skip.
It's still a stimulant. So maybe the only thing to kind of pay attention to is if it makes you a little bit anxious, or if it can impact sleep a little bit. But maybe at the lower dosages, maybe not. But it's just something to bear in mind.
It does for some people. Though, like saying you're right. For some people, as soon as they put Clen in, they do feel a little bit anxious. It does affect them, and it can noticeably, it does without a doubt affect almost 99% of people's bowel movements. But that for me tends to be coming because it's drying us out and it's being dead. So I notice with a lot of people, as soon as they put Clen in, they will instantly notice their bowel frequency slows down a little bit. And that is because...
Slows down?
Yeah, so the majority of people I see when they put Clen in, within a week or two, they're saying, I'm not going to the toilet as often, or my bowel movements have changed. But that's just coming from the diuretic effect because it's drying you out.
I shit more on every stimulant, man.
You're like a fucking rabbit, you shitting all the time.
T3 does speed up. So a lot of times when people run Clen and T3, it could be the T3,
Yeah.
That's speeding that up.
If you want to be really safe, don't use Clen. You should use L-carnitine. That is the most safest fat loss drug in the world. No side effects.
And I know a plug with a code DEC10 will take me some money. Just let you know.
What's the one with the choline in Twin Turbo?
Yeah.
That one is bad boy before your cardio. I'm such a
That's
big
what
fan.
everyone says.
Such a big fan. It gives you, I kid you not, there was me, there was about 5 or 6 of us, me, Dan Bastick, I can't remember who else it was. We all tried it at the same time, and we were all like, I feel like I've had a pre-workout. It increases your heart rate, it increases your ability to work harder during your cardio, you sweat more. Very, very big fan of that, so it would be huge fan.
That one, are you putting it intramuscular or sub-Q?
Intramuscular.
I was putting that sub-Q 0.5 either part of my belly, and guess what? 50% of the time it would swell, and 50% of the time it wouldn't.
You pair of bastards. I was on prep, and you were saying about this. You put sub-Q. I text Hilly back in 2 days time, saying, "What the fuck have you lot done to me?" I had like 2 fucking tumours in my belly, under my belly button, but they wouldn't go.
Yeah, but bro, it goes.
They won't go. They were there for like 2-3 weeks.
I think you have to put it in the side of your stomach.
Yeah,
you're not going into the real fat part.
Yeah.
Because even if you put growth there, it hurts when it's in the fat part.
Yeah.
Question: is it true it's not wise to use metformin for people who struggle to add mass? No, it's not true though.
Why?
I don't know.
It opens a pathway to say, it opens the door So for the muscle to basically say, "Here, mate, I'm opening the door. Have more fucking nutrients."
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
That's
it's delivering the
nonsense.
train.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
what I question is when people go, "Is it true?" Like, where did you get that from? Like, where is that coming from? Like, are you
The thing
reading
is, though,
a forum or like?
do you know, most people who are diabetic, when they use metformin, they lose weight because obviously it makes everything. It makes insulin work better.
They're linking, and it's such a common thing. People linking blood glucose to their metabolism because they don't understand how they both function. They think, in the same sense, is like insulin. If I take that, it's going to pull my blood glucose down, which means that food to a degree is not going to stick. They're thinking the same with metformin. It's never going to fucking happen. Don't worry about it. If you need to use it, use it. If you don't, you don't.
I over dieted last 3 weeks of prep on 1100 calories. How many calories should I start to reverse out with in weeks 1 and 4?
Depends how
Weeks
lean.
1 to
I
4.
bet you still weren't in shape.
Weeks
So-
1 to 4.
Yeah, so what he's asking is how should he be increasing his calories out with the prep?
Thing is, though, if he's someone that got stupid lean, that actually got really fucking lean, right? Most people, I bet you he probably didn't, because most people that do that typically are behind, which is why they have to crash diet.
And they wouldn't be asking this question.
But if you got stupidly lean, then you just push the fucking food up, right? But if you're still fat, then you're still fat, right? So
If you
Go
are
on.
peeled, if you are actually peeled, right, or in very, very good condition, and you can justify that calories, cool. We've all been there, done it, right? Cool. I would just get your new weight. I'd go on a shitty normal calculator, see roughly what an adult should be eating at that weight, and I'd just go off there and reset your whole macros all again.
Honestly,
That's what I would do.
as well, though.
like you said, if you're in true shape, true condition, I would opt to get food as high as possible so you're not spilling to reduce the hunger signaling. That's my point one with all clients. Is like, how can I get them from this pilled stage to still being in very, very good nick without them getting fat too quickly, whilst trying to reduce their cravings or hunger signaling. So if that means I need to say, I don't know, it's 12 weeks out, your food was here, you seem pretty comfortable here by your biofeedback, all this sort of stuff, I would be happy to crank that by even by 500-600 grams of carbs to feel satiated. Everyone knows post-show, that training period is probably the worst part. 2 weeks into the show and that post-show 4-6 weeks, you always feel like you can't train. I think if you can speed that process up by getting carbs as high as possible so you're satiated, get pumps back, be able to train, and I think what you then see is like a synergistic effect. Your body starts metabolizing that food. You're training. You require the recovery demand of the food, which stops you getting fat anyway in the long run. Does that make sense?
But it's like John Meadows said, though. He said, when you've done the show, just get back to a fucking weight where you are stable and you are able to just live day by day.
But
And then
the massive caveat to that is, look, we've all done it. I did it. You're never getting there by eating shit food. Like, thinking you can get like an off-plan meal in once a day. Yeah, just spend some time with family and that sort of stuff. But you need to get your baseline calories up as fast as possible. And then if you want to add some treats in on top in an off-plan meal, that's cool. But your baseline food has to come up quick time, because all that's going to happen, if you think, I'll keep food low so I can go out with my missus or family on the weekend, you're just going to continuously be in that cycle of binge, because you're going to eat, spill, try and pull it back off again. You waste 6-7 weeks ultimately just going through that cycle.
Yeah, you're eating shit anyway. You might as well eat good meals.
Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't even tell us anything about we can't even answer the question because we don't know enough, right? How much cardio are you on? Are you someone that's on 2 hours of cardio a day? How many steps, right? We don't know how much you weigh. Are you someone that had to crash diet and you maybe weigh 100 kilo and you had to crash diet because you were behind? Or probably not. I wouldn't imagine so. They probably wouldn't be asking that question. Or are you someone who's maybe done a first show and you weigh 80 kilo? Are you natural? Are you enhanced? We don't know that, right?
I think if someone's asking this question, they probably haven't over dieted. Does that make sense? I think a lot of people know what it's like to feel really sucked down, and they would know the immediate response would be to get training good again and full again and start eating food to get kind of that baseline food up again. I think the people think maybe they had a little bit more muscle than they had. They thought they would have. They had to push a little bit harder, thought they could have been bigger on stage. And I think then what he's saying is like, how quickly do I rush back to that stage again? And if you weren't in shape, you can't rush that process.
If you are truly over dieted, the fatigue will be so motherfucking high, mate. You can put your food up for a while. Trust me, it ain't doing fuck all. Anyway,
also, I would almost rather put someone's food up a little bit more than you probably should, so it stops him binging. Because what's going to happen is, let's say I say to him, right, let's say he's like, oh, I'm 1,100 calories. I'm like, let's say you go, oh, go on 2,200 calories, just because it's like a safe bet. But then let's say they might do that. But you know, if you go from 1,100 to 2,200, that's still nowhere near enough. So then you binge and you get 6,000 calories in one day, and you're like, oh fucking hell! You pull yourself back, and then it becomes a cycle. So instead, go on 3,000, but actually stay there.
I'd have no problem in like doubling the calories if they're that low and he's
if you're on 1,200,
yeah.
1,200, 2,200. But even at 2,200, I can't see them sticking to that.
No, I agree.
The problem with these questions, and we get them all the time on the Train by JP forum, is it's impossible for anybody to really tell anybody else how much food to add. Because, like Chubby says, we need all of the information, but it just depends on how your response is and how you're feeling. So, if I was that low, I agree with Deck and the lads. If I had pushed out to 1,100, I'd be instantly going to 2,200 on all days. And then after 5 or 6 days, I'd be like, right, do we look bigger, fuller, leaner? And you probably do, if, like you say, if you crash dieting but you're in real shape, then you'd look better. But it's all dictated by how your body composition changes over 3 or 4 days at a time, how your performance changes, how you feel. Because we don't know if this kid's 60 kilo, 80 kilo, 100 kilo, is 1,100 calories really actually low for this kid? Like, we don't know. So there's so much. It's just impossible to say. There isn't a
fucking girl. It could be a fucking
but
girl.
Even saying that, I was watching one of those podcasts earlier, that Fit Nation one. That Beatty guy, he's 270 pound. He's done on 1,200 calories a day, 40 gram of carb a day. But he knows he needs to get in shape. Like, it's not an option. It's not. There's no refeeds. There's nothing. He just has to do that to get in shape.
I used to watch his channel back when he used to do stuff with, that Eric Kanevsky.
No, don't.
So he's like a prankster now. He does like pranks and stuff. I used to like, I like watching his stuff. It's funny. And he used to do bodybuilding as well. And they used to he's like, oh yeah, I'm on 1,200 calories. But mate, they'll do these like cheat days. And them cheat days, they're going fucking mad. They're going like 10,000 calories plus. So it's like,
he's not prepping himself though. Justin Compton is now. So I think
he never did prep himself, but he would still like just do that. And I feel like a lot, because again, like if you're someone with that amount of muscle, he's just, I just can't see how he's going to.
He is black. This is a bit of a cheat code.
But I do know that I've seen videos where Chris Bumstead said he was on 1,400 or 1,500 calories for one of the Olympias. And I also know that Miracle Bear, what's his name, the classic kid.
Yeah.
He has to go super fucking low.
Yeah.
You're talking about their low days, right? But often a lot of these guys, they're feeding up as well.
I think there's a bit of there's a logic to it. And if you notice these people, like take this Beatty, you take Chris Bumstead, you take yours, right? They're naturally very full muscle belly dudes, right? And I think it's Samson's problem. They have to go that low because we know you have to get flat to pull those last bits of fat off, yeah? And I think that's ultimately it. Like, they just don't flatten off easy. And I think there are some people who do flatten off easily, like typical white genetics, as an example. You'll see some that are prepping on 3, 4, 5K calories. Take Nathan Styles as an example. He's prepping on fucking 900 gram of carb or whatever. If there's someone who flattens off easily, they have to manage that a little bit better, so they can't afford to go too low. But if you're on the genetic elite, and you stay full on peasant calories, but you do need to get flat to get the fat off, it's what they're going to have to do, isn't it? High calorie, low food to get there.
Well, it's not even so much genetically, I don't think, because look at me, I've seen my calories at 16, 1700. You've seen me where I'm running low and low and low.
But you don't go fucking flat. Yeah.
So, and that's where I agree. We need to be flat to lose fat. So for some people, that does just mean you have to drive your calories lower and lower and lower and lower. Where for other people, they don't. There's so much to it. So but again, without knowing anything about the guy, we don't know. So, next question.
Talking point now.
It is. And this is an interesting one. One of my clients did this. L-carnitine combo with T3. Are there any potential issues because of support?
All right. Let me answer this. I've got about 1,000 people ask me this, yeah?
Supposedly they block each other.
So, right. Technically, when you use L-carnitine, T3 is down-regulated, right? It was a post done by one of the guys that actually pushes L-carnitine. I think it might be Alex Keekle or one of them.
Yeah, but now he's changed his mind. He's running 4 grams of it. So ignore what the cunt says.
But the thing is, if I have done now 3 preps, using L-carnitine and both of them drugs, and I have never ever seen any downregulation myself. But what you have to realise is these studies are saying that your T3 is downregulated, but is that person using T4? Is that person then on top of that using steroids?
Or exogenous
that
T3?
person-
It kind of negates all of these kind of these
was just gonna
natural
say that.
pathways. And look, I really, as much as I believe he makes up all of his content, Alex, about these like used cases of like a basketball player who had a heart attack and he fixed some stuff, because there's no evidence who that person is. I do enjoy reading it. He does simplify very nerdy things for someone like me to
He's good.
understand.
He's very clever.
But he put this post up about L-carnitine, how it downregulates natural production of thyroid. But then about 4 or 5 months later, he was dieting himself, and now he's doing what Dan Bastic is doing, running 3 grams, I believe, of L-carnitine. And you go on his comments, everyone is just ripping the piss out of him. Like, mate, which way is it? You say it's one thing last week, you're saying this thing this week when you're doing it on yourself. Which one is the correct one? That's where he added, saying, I'm using exogenous T3, so it wouldn't have the same effect.
But the thing is, talking about downregulation for bodybuilders is pretty much pointless because we use test and it downregulates our own test. So we use more. We use T3 to keep everything in balance.
So then I suppose, though, the interesting point to that question is if it does downregulate natural T3 levels, then do natural people that may be using L-carnitine have to be wary of that?
What about 75% of the UK are using it?
Yeah.
This is it. And I'm just going to say, I've got natural clients using it, and I haven't seen their slow down. So I can't see that personally. But it would be interesting to see someone's bloods on it to see what happens.
Hilly, I told you that I was doing the high L-carnitine last year, right? I'm in my prep. And I remember telling a few people, I was doing 2 grams a day, and then I would top up with the oral version because I couldn't be asked to pin anymore. 4 mils a lot. But I honestly think it brings so much benefit to a physique. And now Alex Keekle's talking. Why do you think last year I looked fuller on stage, Hilly? I looked fuller, I looked bigger. This year I pulled it out 6 weeks out because I got lazy.
No, listen, that's not what I'm saying is every client I've got using either the twin turbo or the straight L-carnitine or the last, because bear in mind I was one of the, it was me and someone else that started to make L-carnitine use very popular again.
That's when JP used to use it as well, bro. If you watched all forums.
I'm the biggest fan of it. I have most of my clients using it. I am adamant it gets you leaner quicker and it does everything that we think it does. The only thing that I'm saying is, I'm not aware of any interaction with L-carnitine or T3, so I haven't read any of the science. But what I'm saying is that for all of us in the diet phase, we'll be using T3. So it isn't, if we're using T3 synthetically, we're taking L-carnitine, there is no way it's going to stop the T3 working.
No.
What I'm saying is, I'm not sure if it might downregulate a natural person's T3. It's not bubbling up.
It makes it less. It makes your T3 less potent. So if that's the answer, then use a little bit more.
Well, it's like Dex said. I do not believe that L-carnitine would reduce the efficiency of the T3 tablet you're taking. What I'm saying is, I don't know whether L-carnitine will reduce someone's natural T3 production. And that's
remember that old saying, Novadex, tamoxifen is catabolic. But everyone will reply that. Yeah, but you're using gear anyway. So who gives a fuck?
No, they used to say that it reduces IGF-1 and stuff like. But again, I didn't listen. I didn't hear what you said about this whole thing. But I was going to say that would have been my answer. Like maybe like your natural, it might downregulate that, but I can't see how that's going to be downregulating a synthetic. It's like there are things that reduce testosterone, like natural testosterone. Like for example, when people use finasteride to reduce DHT for hair loss, right? And if you're natural, people will start getting like limp dick, stuff like that. But if you're like us, even using our TRT dose, that's a non-issue.
But it's like metformin. There was a study that showed that metformin reduced IGF levels. So next thing you've got half the bodybuilding world being like, oh, don't take metformin, it'll reduce your blood muscle. It's like, hang on, motherfuckers. If you're taking fucking testosterone and growth hormone and shit, metformin isn't affecting any of that. It may reduce it slightly in natural people, so they may have to worry. But for the rest of the assisted world, it's irrelevant.
Did you say this guy's your client?
Yes.
How big is he?
He's a reasonably muscle. He's a lifestyle guy. He's a very well muscle kid. He's not. We've been at the end of a diet, and he's not taking T3. So I'm presuming he's read the study he's
course,
seen something. So that's where he's coming from. Which, and like I said, I agree with the train of thought of where he might be coming from, because I haven't read nor looked into.
I just glanced on WebMD, and it basically says it's a peripheral antagonist of thyroid activity in extreme dosages. So what they define as extreme, I'm assuming, is actually far less than what we use, because obviously we use it injectably. It's far easier for us to get the active compound in, isn't it?
Or is the study done on oral form L-carnitine, which
I
works
don't
through
know.
a different
I don't know.
works through a different method, because injectable bypasses a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so
Hey,
good.
it's an interesting point, but I kind of want to take the JP stance on this, which he hits home very well on his Q&As. It's kind of like, this is a game of percentages. Like, you probably don't need to be worrying about this at that level. Does that make sense? And that's not going to be in a mean way. Yes, if you're absolutely at the elite and you're pushing for those Olympia titles maybe, or pro wins or whatever, yes, you could open to this discussion. But I don't think it's something you need to worry about in terms of your level of bodybuilding. Even me, Riz, Dave, all of us, you know?
Next
I was
question.
just to touch on that. I talked to Nathan a lot. He coaches me, but Nathan was like, "Bro, this year I've used L-carnitine since you've dropped all these products," and he goes, "This is the best I've ever looked." I said to him, "That's the L-carnitine as a joke," but I honestly think, because when your training's on point, your gear's on point, you're sleeping perfectly. Like Nathan, very very on the money. Yeah, everything's on lock. You then add that one last little tool that just connects everything better.
And I'm so we had this discussion recently. Like none of us fuck around. Like, we're on it as we can be, yeah. And I think when you go through these off-season cycles, in prep cycles, and you start using things like growth hormone and all this sort of stuff, as long as you're on the ball, you can see the positive effects those drugs have. I have seen the positive effects L-carnitine has in the off-season of keeping body fat off you. Like that's the big thing for me. It has a far greater effect than growth hormone alone at keeping me a bit tighter in the off season. And obviously, anyone who uses it pre-workout will be very, very aware of how it affects your pumps and how you train in the gym, how you sweat a little more, all that sort of stuff. You know.
One
of the key reasons that I started promoting L-carnitine so much, 2-3 years back, was because I was initially using it for fertility to check the effect it has on sperm motility, which was drastic. Remember, mine went from like 13% to 50%. So, but then the more I went into the supplement, the L-carnitine, and understood what it did and how it worked, I then started taking it pre-workout. And this was at a time when I was off everything, trying for a baby. My testosterone level was between 3 and 5 millimole for 9 months. When I moved into pre-workout, the increase in performance I saw just from that L-carnitine, when my testosterone level was in the shit in terms of energy in the gym, the way my energy was maintained in the gym, this allowed me to lift more. I can categorically state that it has huge effects on performance that you might not see as much if you're on cycle, but it has them. Then the fat loss benefits and everything else, and we know it's good for HDL. But for me, I saw its effects on performance when my testosterone level was in the gutter. So there isn't a better test. There is not a more conclusive answer that shit helps. And it makes sense because it helps you mobilize fat at an intercellular level to be burnt off as energy, which also tells you that it is without helping you get leaner. And that, just to add on to that, there is a question.
Making noise.
Yeah,
I've got to mute Hilly for a second. See, it's gone. Hilly and his shit mic.
So what
you told me?
It's gone now.
Yeah, now it's gone. It's just interference.
There was another question saying, is injectable L-carnitine worth it pre-workout in the off season, or just save it for prep and fat loss? So we've just discussed that. We all think it is worth it in the off season, especially if you get something like turbocharged, which is incredible.
Love that shit. Question for you boys: do you pin your L-carnitine where you also pin your anabolics?
Yeah, I'll pin in my
issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was speaking to Doctor, Nathan's training partner. He goes, I pinned my gear here, and then about shortly after, I pinned my L-carnitine in there by accident, and he goes, it really hurt.
Yeah, the only reason I asked is obviously like like I'm going to start using the hyaluronic acid soon, the turboject again, and obviously I would pin in my L-carnitine in my pecs, and I don't want to be mixing like an oil with a water-based stuff. So I was trying to think.
I would be keeping that separate.
Yeah, so obviously I've never put my glutes before. Where the fuck are you lot sticking it in your glutes? So I think that's a good space for it.
Then
What, your Alcan?
I put all my L-carnitine in my ventral glute deck. Ventral glute. Right up near the hip, right out the way. That's where I put all my L-carnitine.
Really?
Straight in there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Ventral gluteal, it's right just next to your hip bone. You can feel the muscle. If you Google ventral gluteal,
Yeah, I know. I can feel it with my thumb. I know exactly where it is.
I showed you the ventral glute, Hilly.
I
I
might
showed
do
you
the
that.
bombastic and start running some mad dosages.
I always pin my L-carnitine in the body part local to what I'm training. So if I'm training
it goes
chest,
systemic, man.
I pin it in my
It does go systemic.
No. I'll tell you what it is. Not with L-carnitine, but I never really use the traditional just L-carnitine. I'll use the one with the turbo.
The mixed, yeah.
Right, and that gives you a bit of a sweat, like soreness, right? So it's just connection. Like if I'm training quads, for example, pinning the quads, and as I train, I could feel it.
I do that. My one good pec, my one titty.
That's why
I use the V2, the turbocharged V2. I use that at site. So I'm training arms. I'll pin that in my arms. Pecs, I pin that in my pecs. I always do that. I think it makes a massive difference. It's more for the L-carnitine because I'm thinking about putting that obviously in AM cardio. It may be like 1.5 grams, and then the same pre-workout in the other glutes. That makes sense. So 2 glute shots a day.
But then what needle are you gonna? What needle size are you gonna use?
A grey or insulin pin, yeah.
What, into your glute?
Yeah, my ass ain't that fat, bro. I'm still quite lean.
1.5 mil.
A grey.
Yeah,
that's gonna lump up in it. 1.5 mil with a slim pin in the glute.
No, you're saying you're gonna use a grey. A grey.
I use a grey, yeah.
But then you have the scar tissue. Like you want to be careful with the glutes.
Yeah, I've never put anything in before.
I've never
because it's a water-based product, isn't it? So it should disperse very well. That was my thought.
To be honest, Alcan causes hardly any scar tissue, from what I found.
No, but it's the needle, though. It's the needle going through, isn't it? That's what it is. So I would be careful, especially as a competitive bodybuilder.
Though your ventral gluteal is
right
in
at the top.
Yeah. I'll get in there. I've still got like lines there in mine.
Yeah, so see where my thumb is? That's where I put all of my insulin pins in there for my ventral glute.
I'm going straight in there.
Even if you're building up some scar tissue, that shit ain't shown on stage.
No.
So it don't matter who it is. It's not like at the back of your glute here.
Yeah. I've never been there.
Hey, maybe next time I get on stage, I'll have an ass.
I would avoid, as someone that's looking to get on stage, like I would avoid to pin the glute.
Triceps then.
Triceps is really good. Triceps is.
I've pinned about 4 mil in my ventral glute.
You lift your arm up over a mirror, stick it in. It goes in really nice.
Riz, have you got any of the 750 mg L-carnitine?
Yes.
I need some of that shit. I meant to ask you when I was at yours.
But listen to it, that one, Deck had some, I think. Deck probably moaned Deck's a bitch.
No, honestly, mate, it's more because I don't buy any of the big pins anymore. And it's a pain in the ass to draw it out of the grey. And then I backload it, me being annoying, I then backload it into the slim pins. And it is difficult to get through a fucking slim pin, that shit. I'm telling you.
But people asking me, bro, what is it, oil-based? No, it's water fucking based.
Yeah, it's got thick, yeah.
It's got so much Alcan in it, it makes it almost a bit like turbo jet a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, nothing like turbo jet. That shit is like jet.
You know what I mean?
I tell you,
Is it the turbo charge? Which one? Which one's the one that's got the
That's your one,
the ADP in it? Which one?
That's the turbocharge. That's the pre-workout. That's fucking sick.
That one's my
favorite. I love it.
Of all of them, that's my favorite one.
Yeah. No, the new one's better.
I haven't tried the new one because
that V2 is it's like I find it rushy. Like I pin it, I'm like, bruh, I feel the uptake. Does that make sense? I feel it almost instantly. It's weird.
You get a better focus on that. I get a proper angle of the way to the gym.
I was angry all the time, bro. So it's cool.
With the TurboCon, what I was using it in prep because it's thicker and you pin it through. I pinned it in orange, but I just warm it up a little bit and then it'd go in dead easy.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, there's loads more. Optimal protein intake.
Shut up. Next question.
1.5. I do 1.5 grams of protein per 1 pound of body weight.
How many times have we got answer? If you're going to ask questions, make sure you watch the previous fucking podcast because we've answered this stupid fucking question a million fucking times. So stop fucking asking stupid fucking questions that we've done a million times before. Stop asking how much fucking protein, how many sets for this, how much fucking Primo shall I take? Like, do these people not watch the podcast?
But people don't understand. Like, he's not going to mind me saying this because he's my client as well. I hope he doesn't. Like he responded to a question, and it made me laugh out loud. Like anyone who watches Jordan's stories, he's extremely sarcastic. He's gone to the stage now of actually trying to educate people to stop being retarded. The kid he asked me, Jordan is obviously an advocate of upper lower. Why don't more bodybuilders that? I'm like, how can you not read what Jordan is actually saying? He's not an advocate of anything. It fucking works for him. Like, at no point is he saying you as an individual person should be doing an upper lower. He is quite literally saying what works for you will work for you, and fucking do that. It's mental how many people can ask a question, get a fair and clear response, and not understand what it means. It's bonkers. It blows my fucking
And again,
mind.
like when you ask about the protein, okay, right, give us some more factors to this, right? Are you in the prep? Are you in off season, right? Because that fucking depends. Are you someone that potentially like maybe struggle with appetite? Because if you do, then maybe you should lower the protein because then that's going to kill your appetite for later on. Like it's just fuck. Do you know what I mean? Fuck me.
I've got a good one while I go for a pee. This is Joe Richardson, who's looking nuts, by the way, at the moment. Kid, looking
Yeah, he
very
is.
impressive. If you could bring back one supplement of the past,
I got to say,
original formula, what would it be? So before I go for a pee, I'm going to say
What resin stuff?
whatever that shit everybody used to pin in the muscle before they got on stage.
escalate.
Yeah. Right, you say what I want.
Parabolan.
Man,
Really?
I bought some of that,
I
really.
don't know. But from
I
what
bought some of that I bought some about 6 months ago. I sent it to Riz and Hilly. It was the original. Is it Bayer Parabol Chuds? The smell. I bought it in South Africa. I paid £160 for one box of it, mate. The smell of this shit was legitimate, pure Trenkopf. Like you snap that top, mate. You couldn't even smell it. It was that mental. I didn't feel the bad effects of it, but the smell of it was atrocious. I've never smelled anything so chemically in my
Was
life.
it any
Bring it
different
right.
to Trenacetate?
No, I didn't feel any different.
Okay.
But I can't believe that.
You know, like the original EQ that used to come in 50 meg per.
50 mil, what was it, like 60 milligram per mil? The fucking
Yeah,
horse stuff,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah. I think it was 50 milligrams per ml, and it used to come in like 60 ml bottles or something. That
Yeah.
thing. I want to try that.
And
thing.
obviously, the main one has to be the original Jack 3D, which I'm pretty sure was still, to this day, speed.
DMAA, isn't it?
Now, I don't believe it was that, man. I've taken that before on its own. There's something else in it, that shit, bro. Yeah, that is it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm saving that for when I turn a pro. It's going to take me over the edge.
Yeah.
Manufactured in 2013. Fucking hell.
Jack 3D is the original supplement for me that I wish if I could still make.
Yeah, Jack 3D, and they had one called Craze. That
Yeah.
was sick as well.
The good thing is that was about now. I'd take it every day on prep because you couldn't eat anything on it. It'd be great. It's basically like doing a line of whiff.
Yeah.
Let's do fire so we can try and answer as many as possible.
What
Right.
other supplement was really good back in the day? I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. Don't know.
I'll tell you what I would bring back. I don't know if they still do it. Reflexes, protein reflex did.
I knew you were going to fucking say that, man.
Peptide fusion or something it was called.
30.
Yeah, it was 33, whey, casein, and
Egg protein.
And it mixed into a mousse and it digested. I was a huge mint chopped chicken. I lived off that shit for a long time. Right. TRT, HRT, 150 mg of Testy, 50 mg of Primo, injection frequency. What would you suggest? What would be optimal?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Daily.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah.
The problem with these questions is what is best is really what is best for the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's an argument. If you want the most optimal way to take it to give you the best hormonal profile,
Stability, yeah.
then daily would be there's no argument daily. However, there isn't many people, myself included, normally that could be asked jabbing daily, right? Because a lot of people look at their HRT periods, cruise periods as a type of inject less. So you could go sub-Q daily, but for me, I've seen me do cruises where I've just done my cruise dose every Monday and I have been absolutely fine and not really noticed any difference in how I feel, whether I've done it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every Monday, or fucking daily. Don't feel any difference, holding the muscle the same. But my blood work, without a doubt, looks better when I shoot that shit daily. So it is about, do you want to do
look,
things?
even if you do it like, and I'm not saying you should do that. I do that, but that's just because I forget. I sometimes don't take a shot for like 2.5 weeks, and I wait till I'm like, oh fucking hell, I start to feel like shit, like, and I'll take it then, because I just do one shot, 200 mg test sip, and that's all I'll do, and I'll forget. I'll do it like every 9 or 10 days, and I still feel fine. You know what I mean? So it's not, people overthink that shit too much.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with Hilly. Like that logic, especially in the cruise period, it's kind of like your detox period, isn't it? Like you just want to pin once a week, get a good clear out, get a bit more mobile, a bit more water in, just get a little bit healthier. I think that makes sense to me, rather than sick and needing yourself every day. You know?
Yeah, but from a mental standpoint, we all know the placebo works. So you're pinning yourself with a bit of Gary D, like, yeah, man, bad boy.
I just
That's
do it
what I
before
mean.
bed, man. I tell you what, boys, I've been pinning my traps. I'm gonna be like Jordan Peters in a few weeks' time. They're coming up. But it's painless, no problem,
I
no.
told you, bro, the pin before bed is the best.
Yeah.
I can't express enough how doing my TRT sub-Q has been a game changer for
Like
me.
I said to you boys, I got a few clients on the Pro Farmer stuff. Like there has been zero pip. Like they're absolutely fine with it. One of them's running
Sub-Q?
Sub-Q and
Sub-Q
Primo at 100 meg. Huh?
Sub-Q where?
In their belly fat.
In my love handles.
Yeah.
But as in, is it in front, off the stomach, or on the side?
Just like to the side a little bit. You know, like where the fat conjoins
How
in your
much
hip.
you been in?
He's on 150 meg a week of test and 100 meg of Primo.
So
half a mil shots.
So half a mil a test, right?
And half a mil of Primo, a full mil of Primo divided by 7.
Yeah.
And he's doing that daily.
So that's just over 0.2. Oh.
Do you reckon you could do that year round on a blast?
No. I've been doing 15 to 20 IU of testosterone cypionate. It was wrong. Now it's Pro Farmer since April, and I've not had one issue doing it, and my blood work has been better. I did a video on Instagram, and I think we discussed it on here, but just for clarification, I tested my bloods intramuscular and I tested them sub-Q, and I had a higher increase in free testosterone and a higher increase in androgen load doing it daily sub-Q than I did doing it a couple of times a week intramuscular. But there wasn't a reduction in estrogen. So there is this big thing apparently. And I had said this to people. Apparently, if you do it daily sub-Q, it will bring down your estrogen because it absorbs.
Relief through the adipose tissue.
There was my free testosterone my total testosterone might have been a little bit better, but my free testosterone and my androgen index was better, but there was zero change in my estrogen.
I never expected there would be though. Like if you think about when we do daily shots, like you're drip feeding it as much as yes, it might slow that process down, but the drip feeding is the same amount. Does that make sense? Like I didn't expect to see that shift if you're pinning daily.
And if we think about it, your estrogen is in relation or ratio to your test level. So it's not in relation to how quickly the gi's being fucking absorbed. It depends on where your testosterone sits. So once you've got a level test, you're going to get the same estrogen no matter what.
But isn't the spike good though?
No.
Why not?
Because with the problem with volatility in your bloods, especially if you're like pinning twice a week or whatever, estrogen is the hormone that normally moves first or goes first, and then that's where I believe. And I've had so many clients come to me with estrogenic problems, and almost instantly within a few weeks when I move them to daily shots, granted not necessarily blood work supported, but in general they feel better because you're not creating those peaks and valleys in your bloods. And that's exactly. So and the only problem is just the way how volatile the estrogen is. That's what causes those effects. Those dips and peaks are what causes the massive problem, not necessarily
what I'm saying
the
is,
test coming down and going up.
If you jab it all at once and you get a massive spike, that means you're going to get more growth.
Yeah,
that's true. You also get more side effects.
But if you have no gyno, then you're cool.
You won't know because the serum levels will always peak at the same amount over a period of time.
So what Riz is on about is something that me and Riz discussed before. And I know Broderick Chavez is a fan of this because Matt Tofton did it.
Pin every 5 days.
Well, Sass does all his gear on a Sunday, doesn't he? Everything. Because I was discussing this with someone earlier. So the theory behind this is, and there was a group of older guys did it on Professional Muscle, it was in the private section. So they were assessing, or they were doing their own experiments between jabbing all of their gear Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or jabbing it all in a bolus dose once a week. And what they all found was they felt they saw more gains from doing it once a week, but they also all noted much more side effects.
There's the thing with orals with that as well. When people talk about splitting, let's say splitting your Anavar or splitting like your dosages of D-Bol, like when people would be I think they did that with D-Bol, and they were talking about like killing your appetite and stuff. It's going to kill your appetite less if you split it, but it's more anabolic if you take it all in one go.
Hilly, am I being retarded though? Like, it would always peak at the same serum level, though, wouldn't it? Like, you're not taking more drugs.
No, I don't think so. So the way it works, if you say you took a gram of Tester, you put the full gram on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That bolus 1,000 mg is all going to be sort of worked into the body at once.
I get you. So it creates more like an anabolic environment for a short period of time rather than
No, so what you're going to see, for exactly the reason you just said, I think you're just looking at it wrong. What you said there is that your estrogen is going to, people are seeing more of a side effect because they're seeing a bigger estrogen wave. But what you've got to bear in mind is, as we know, having estrogen higher and spiking these things is partly what drives growth. So I think where that does have merit is that if you split your dose daily, you're not seeing these bigger swings in the hormones, which is why you see less side effect. However, the bigger bolus dose that hits, the bigger the spike in estrogen, potentially the bigger spike in the IGF and all of those things.
A heavier load of androgens,
Yeah, so that's the theory. And it makes sense. And it's what I say to people. If you're in the off season and trying to grow and you can handle the sides, there is an argument for actually it may make more sense to do all of your gear. I don't think in one day, but I think doing Monday and Thursday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I think when you move to a prep setting where you want things more stable, it makes all of the sense in the world to go daily. The caveat to that is, if you can handle all of the effects from having the bigger bolus doses, then you may very well see more growth. But for most people, they're not going to be able to handle the effects of shooting all their gear in one day. My very first prep with Alex Cesarian, he was like, I want you to pin all of your gear on a Sunday, once a week. So it didn't matter until we went to fast act and stuff. But the first 8 weeks of it, and it was fine. And like I say, I'm pretty sure that's what fucking Sass does and always has done.
I just want to go back a bit as well to the estrogen thing, because I've had, I would say, 3 people in the last 2 weeks come up to me in the gym with problems. And again, it kind of goes back to what I said about the JP Q&A. Like, people cite or reference things that we've said, and they always they miss the most important bits out, right? We often say we want estrogen as high as possible, as long as you don't have side effects. If you're coming up to me and said, "Oh, I watch a podcast and I have really high estrogen, but my dick doesn't work," that's a side effect. That is a problem. I actually had this conversation, I swear to God. Like, if your estrogen is 650 and your test is 187, we're not saying that's a good environment if you can't have sex. What we are saying is we want estrogen to run as high as possible without any side effects. That's the goal.
If you're chasing muscle progress, then is it a side effect?
Well, if you can't have sex, fuck me, 100% it is.
It's not just
if someone told you look like Ronnie Coleman, you have to drop a dick for a year, I'd say, okay, cool, mate. You know,
there's no way. Man, there's no fucking way I'm going with that.
You're not a true bodybuilder then.
But you imagine getting a raging on him for 10 seconds and the boy just flops down.
Yeah, cool, man.
Fuck that.
I think that's 8 seconds anyway, so it's fine.
I'm only 4.5 seconds, I'm good.
I'm in and out in 10 seconds anyway, so
Quick.
Right, next one. Interested to hear your guys' opinions and experiences with the peptides BPC 157 and TB 500V.
Mega bad boy, sick, proper bad boy, rude boy,
You know what?
boy.
I
Peptide
actually
BPC.
thought about using a little bit of BPC, seeing if that would make a difference. Like, so because Riz, have you got the tablet one? Is it or?
Yeah, the tablet BPC obviously is for your stomach lining and like healing stuff off like your gut and stuff. But I think it does like 2% help your joints. But after my gyno surgery, I ran GH at 8 IUs a day. I ran BPC about a bottle every 3 days, and my recovery was wild.
No, I know that's we spoke about this, which is why it's got me interested in trying it. So
I'm a huge fan of them. I've run them with myself with tendinitis issues and other issues. In the last 2 years, I've used them with 3 clients that have had bicep clear detachments. They've had them in as soon as we've come out of surgery, and all 3 of them made progress that the doctors would not fucking believe. Matty Campbell, who's a gladiator now, he used the peptides. I'm sure that well, the legal
He's
stuff.
natural. He's natural. He's natural. He's
He's
natural.
natural.
You natural. Make is a natural ones.
Matty Campbell, who the fuck's that?
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
Oh, that's the
Catty Mamble, Hilly's old client.
yeah, that's the African gladiators.
Yeah,
And 2 other guys. And they were literally, when they were going back through the rehabilitation, they're like, we don't need that swing, we can get you straight back into this. They were back training within 10 weeks when the doctor said they'd be out for 6 months. I would argue they're almost miracle drugs, to be honest.
I've fortunately never had to use them.
I actually think, and I'm going to stand by what I say, I think you should keep BPC in once a week, 1 jab, because in my opinion, sometimes you might not see the tear, you might not feel the little tear, and you want to constantly recover. I think it makes complete sense to keep it in fucking round.
Well, for me, what I did with a couple of clients that had recurring tendinitis issues, older guys, we would do a 4-week run every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of the tendinitis issues come from training incorrectly? Like a lot of clients I see get it, like when I watch their form, like especially the whole bicep one, and you watch them do like an easy bar curl or a dumbbell curl, like the way they are with their wrist, the way they like curl in it makes sense to me why they have such bad tendinitis. Do you see what I mean?
You know what I used to get it the worst with? I used to get it really bad when I used to try and jam myself under a squat bar, and I'll be like putting wrist wraps and stuff just to get myself to just fit in. And then that's the stuff. It's when you're putting your body in positions that it doesn't want to be in.
Yeah, I agree. And you're holding them. It's that I always just love arm wrestling, but even like it's the one thing for me that it's that constant pressure attention against the tendon. If I do anything like that where I'm wedged in a position, forget about it for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's terrible.
Yeah. And then it kills your pressing. It just fucks it.
I think a lot of it is either training form or when there's something wrong with your biomechanics, so you're not able.
Yeah.
So like I always get tendinitis issues in this left arm, but that's actually because I've got an issue with the lat here, so my hand actually doesn't fully rotate like But I do think another reason I've been seeing a lot of tendinitis issues with people is because of this trend of running really high Primo cycles with low test. So everybody, when I've looked at blood work, they've got low estrogen. I know my estrogen is tanked when I'm training and my knees feel like glass and my elbows feel like glass. It is one of the key signs for me. My knees start hurting, my elbows start hurting. I'll check my bloods and my estrogen will be in the fucking gutter.
The only time that I got tendinitis was when I was doing biceps and I would overextend the motherfucker to there,
Yeah.
Now I just literally stop it there. And trust me, I used to bring up my arm and I would twist this motherfucker like that for some reason.
Yeah.
Now I just hold my arm straight. Like
that's it. That's it. It's like a loose straight. Like keep your palm straight, but nice and loose. Like you're not trying to squeeze the bar in half. Like you just contract the bicep. That's the best thing you can do for it. Hey, talking of squats, we got that new we got that Roger squat machine thing, Riz. I think you've used it before. No, not the hip press. You know the squat machine.
The one that we used.
Do you know what?
Man, I fucking love that thing.
I used to find with that machine, maybe it's not Rogers. It's like a different brand. I used to stack like 7, 8, 9 plates aside on that. It's too light.
I got we got double pins, so I get 7 plates on the top. So I stack the top pin, but we've got double pins on the bottom as well, so we can load it all the way. So I'm running that off rather than.
Has it got like a different? It's almost like what's it fucking it changes the
loading point. It goes from like a high bar squat to like a low bar if you put it on the lower.
Yeah.
If you put it on the low bar, what I did was I'd put it on my shoulders, right? You can hold it like this, can't you?
Yeah.
Or you can hold the bar in front of you. My arms are just about reach because I'm short, and I would use that to stay upright.
That's what I do. I pull against it almost. I lean back and pull against it. But it's for me because I squat like a girl anyway, like very narrow. It's like one of the only machines I've ever used to like really suit my biomechanics. I really like it.
Put a wedge underneath as well, and you can get your leg.
I use a wedge and my squat shoes.
Yeah. I squat exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. But I used to find like once you load the middle pin, because it is like it's like a prime machine, right? So obviously you load the middle pin. Once you start loading the other pins, it gets lighter.
It changes. It's the opposite way.
That's why I think one of the best leg machines is that Hilly uses that True Squat. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh
that,
yeah,
mate.
I can't use it.
That machine gives me trauma. I loaded it up showing off in Olympia gym, and it fucking folded me after 2 seconds. The first rep.
Bro,
I loved that. Absolutely fucking loved
machine.
it.
the one at Ultraflex is the Watson one's not the True Squat.
Just Googled it there for Watson one.
Squat.
It is, Hilly.
Unbelievable bit of kit.
Oh mate, when you use that, bro, it humbles you real quick.
Watson blocked me on
And you-
Instagram.
And your foot placement, Hilly's got to be a bit back in it.
Yeah.
That one for anybody wanting to know.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
There's a new gym down the road, and I feel really sorry for the owner. Like, he's obviously been sold the dream, and he's bought like 150 grand worth of Watson kit. And I don't train there anymore. I used to be my little leisure centre gym. I trained that for a bit. So I went there for a session. I cannot believe how many pieces they've manufactured by someone who has never been to a gym before. Mate, there's bodybuilders 50 pounds heavier than me. I can't fit in half the machines. I have to get someone to pick the arms up on a shoulder machine so I can get into it and press up. I took a picture of it, tagged them, and I took a picture of like their ab machine where you have to feed your hand through a hole to change the pin. And
A lot of that stuff's very close.
I said, I'm only assuming when you manufacture this stuff, the person who designed it has never actually been to the gym. They didn't even respond and get into like a war with me. They just blocked me.
It's
A
like
lot of the stuff as well is they try and be like Panata, where they'll design like a really nice seat, and it's like, bro, your machine, it just doesn't move right.
There's one piece in there that I love.
In one of the gyms near me, they've got the pec deck, and it's got like these fat handles, and you just think,
they're like 90-degree angles. Yeah, they're weird as fuck.
Now, listen, they're fucking cable crossover.
Yeah.
The fucking attachment that you move up and down is in front of the fucking pin.
Yeah, so you've got like this much clearance room. So if you lose that pin, you can't get anything in. But they've got a machine which is like a bench, right? That will go to a flat bench and an incline all the way up. But then you can slide the seat back and forth. But then it's on D handles. So you can literally do everything. You can do like a shoulder press, a bench press, a fly, like literally everything on a 200 kilo cable stack. Like, it's a good piece of kit.
Their T-bar is very good.
Yeah.
I know you, but I think it's a bit shit.
I like it.
I used the other day, because I went to use the free, my first back session, I went to use the free weight T-bar. All the dickheads were doing their pussy squats here on it. So I used the Atlantis squat machine. No, T-bar machine.
Yeah, nice that is.
Fucking bad boy, sick. Bro, my whole back was connected.
Hey, Riz, you're in trouble when we train back again next, mate. I've got T-bars in my session. You're fucked.
Bro, listen, I do 6 plates on that when I was 200 pounds.
I did 8 plates, bro.
Yeah, but you're like 280, bro.
290.
Cosmetic differences in using Primo versus Masteron.
Hey, you've been answered. Do you know what? I bet you I'm actually reading Hilly's questions, not even my own. Because you sent them by a picture, didn't you? I screenshot them, and I bet I'm actually reading your fucking questions.
They're all in the group.
Prick.
I'm reading your questions there.
Oh, are you?
I'm reading all the questions, yeah.
Nice.
I just thought I'd read them so you didn't have to go through your phone.
Love it. Yeah, go. Who's got the answer?
290 my ass. You fucking chat shit, bro. I'm still thinking about the 290.
I'm not 290. I'm 240, you mad bastard.
That's what I thought. How does it feel that I'm fucking about 23 pounds away from you, bitch?
Yeah, but you're fat. I'm very lean.
No, I'm holding pure muscle mass.
Imagine Riz at 240 though.
Watch.
But that's gonna look.
Listen to me,
bro. He ain't getting there unless he starts doing half reps and come trains with dad.
Bro, listen. Hilly come here and I had half a nipple, yeah. And he was like, stop doing more. I was like, nah, fuck that. If you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it too. Do you know what I mean? Bro, watch two Philly. Watch.
Riz, how heavy are you now? 200 pound.
210 nearly.
Riz taps out from eating at 225. Mark my words.
No, 100% I won't.
I believe in you, bro. I want to see you at 250. You're like a little bulldog.
Yeah, but does Riz need to be 240?
If I can't eat it, I will
funny,
inject it.
It would be really funny to see, and I want to see it.
Bro, watch. I've told Hilly I will get to 250.
Riz,
you trust me.
I've got the formula for you. Greg's.
Bro, we can do that. Bro, this is the first year I've had my protein lower, and man is still hungry. I'm hungry every fucking day, bro.
Right, cosmetic differences between Primo and Masteron.
Shit, man.
Masteron extreme. It does harden you out from a aesthetic perspective. Primo will give you a nice amount of fullness. I actually feel just a lot better. I don't really like Mass. Mass is one of the drugs I've never put in and thought like, I like this. I can feel this a little bit. Does that make sense? I don't know if it's just because it's so mild in itself. I don't really like it. I know me and Hilly run it obviously towards tail end of the prep just to bring estrogen down. But I think I would favour EQ for that. Hilly, is there a reason we don't do that in prep, or is it just because we haven't done a prep since we love EQ?
So I tend to taper out EQ normally at about week 5
Okay.
and bring in Masteron, because we know Masteron doesn't really reduce estrogen; it stops estrogen binding.
Yeah.
Like a
So
tamoxifen.
like no aromatizing at all. So yeah.
Yeah. And Masteron also does seem to give this particularly hard
Yeah.
look. But the reason that I like to keep EQ usually in till week 5 is because of its active half-life. It will still be having an effect on lowering estrogen into the shore. The other thing is usually around week 4, week 5, we then start taking up the Arimidex to bring estrogen down anyway. So once you start using Arimidex to bring estrogen down, it doesn't make sense to have the EQ in as well. Once you're down, you're down.
Yeah, I get you.
So for me, my mindset has always been with the half-life of EQ, if we pull it out at week 5,
It's
it's still going to work really, and we're using something else to replace its effect. It'll still have the increased effect of red blood cell count, which should give us a fuller look, make us more vascular, and then we're starting to drive up the Masteron because it does give it a different look to the physique.
That's what I was going to say. Is the vascularity from so my client Dan, he's never ran EQ before. We ran it in his rebound, and he's got a stupid amount of muscle, but he's got that like pale ginger skin, where it's not very vascular. Mate, since we've had EQ in it, this kid is like a fucking romap. Like it's changed completely how he looks, and I just wondered if you could
EQ
maybe
is going to boost the red blood count. So
Yeah.
that's what that is.
we do half mast, half EQ next time.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
I
and like
think,
it's-
or to answer the question, for 99.9% of people, myself
the difference.
included, huh?
You won't tell the difference.
No,
Most of you guys use a mask anyway when you buy the fucking Primo.
all that. But I think for people, like, don't worry, whichever one you can get, and you know that it's real, take that one, because they're so close. Like, I can't tell the difference. For
No.
me, like, I
I
know
will.
Dex says
Bro, listen.
fullness and like
Yeah,
dry.
more fullness than Primo. Yeah.
I will always favour Masteron because it is more milligram per mil. That is legitimately my answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. And I
But
think
also-
that's
also,
the experiencing, isn't it?
fullness, when you say fullness, like, is that you taking a cruise dose of test and let's say a gram of Primo, or is that you taking a blast and then let's say you go from a cruise into a blast and you go, oh, I noticed more fullness, but is
I
that
think
Primo?
I think the nitrogen retention fullness is a different type of fullness, and I know you get it from MPP and Primo, and it's comparable to like the GH fullness. You know, it's a bit of bubble there. It's a bit more roundness in the muscle. It's like subcutaneous. It's like intramuscular fluid is there. Does that make
On
sense?
what
I think
dose? On what dose
I'm running now 50 megs a day.
of Primo?
Yeah.
So 350 a week.
Yeah, and you could be right, Chuds, because obviously when I just stopped training for a bit and stuff, I came off absolutely everything and put the Primo back in because I had the Pro Pharma stuff. So it could be that. You're absolutely right. But it's something I remember I mentioned to Hilly quite a few times now when we first used it. I love the stuff, yeah.
When you put Primo in, you've always said you feel fuller.
Yeah.
No matter what cycle we've run, you've always said that. And I think, in regards to the question, if you want to look at things on a scientific basis, just on paper, then arguably Primo lowers estrogen directly, whereas Masteron doesn't for a lot of people. So if you're trying to cut, you want your estrogen a bit lower, so markedly it will have more of a cosmetic effect. Whereas Masteron, when you are super, super shredded, does seem to give a bit of a better look. But I will fully agree with Chuds, for 99% of people, you ain't noticing much of anything between the two drugs. And you've got a remarkable amount of people, Jordan, John Jewett, and lots of people in between, that will happily say they are interchangeable. So as everybody knows for myself, I always would rather favour the anecdotal evidence from experienced people like us and like them. If all of us four here, and Jordan and Kuba and John Jewett and loads of other people are comfortable to say, in reality, they're more or less interchangeable, then they're fucking interchangeable, aren't they?
Well, if it's what John Jewett said, all drugs are the same anyway. So, do you know what I mean? Makes no difference.
So
See,
it's missing
I
fits.
think back to what Riz said, like, if a client was to ask me, or not a client, but if someone was to ask me, like, what, or even for me with a client, if someone's like, oh, like, finances are finite, then I will say run Masteron. Because,
All day.
one, you're getting it, it's cheaper, but you're getting basically double the amount as you would in Primo. So,
All day.
and it's less oil that you got to pin. So that's
Exactly. The triple win. Win, win,
I
win.
think I think the three things that are the most overrated in bodybuilding right now is literally, from a money standpoint, GH, motherfucking Primo, and all these little expensive little drugs that come in between. Yeah, people will use them and choose them over food. I
Oh
do
yeah,
not get it.
yeah, they
Stick
get
to
it.
the fucking basics.
But even what you
Just-
said, Riz, about the milligram per mil thing, that's when you start to understand what bodybuilding is. Does that make sense? Like, it all does the same thing, and out of convenience, you don't want to be jabbing 10 fucking middle weeks, so you'll switch to Primo, Masteron. I think that's like
you-
an experience thing, isn't it? Over time, you're like, you know that it's similar enough, so you just don't want to be banging loads of oil in you, so you'll switch to Mast. You know?
Well,
Well,
no one likes injecting loads.
Mix them. So, like for example, you Deck, I don't know how far you want to take the DHT, but let's say if you're like, I want a gram of DHT, like some people might, then at that point maybe you get to 500 Primo, and you might go, well, I'm going to bang in the rest of Masteron just because.
Honestly, I won't ramp the DHTs up. Like, the structure has always been high test and EQ to control the E2 side of things. I'll keep that as the base. Like I said, I had the Primo there, so I put it in, and I felt improvements from that. Obviously, keep training as always, but that's only at 75 meg a week. And then what I'll look to probably do, when I need to, is potentially crank the EQ up or pull the test down, and then maybe drop a bit of DHB in.
Well, in argument as well, you both, Hilly Deck, Judge, Nathan Styles right now, he's only using Primo and Test.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty damn fucking
He
fantastic.
looks fucking mental.
So when I look at him, I'm like, how can I argue that when he looks like that?
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And this is the thing. It's like, look at Jordan Peters. He's running like 1500 mega Masteron and 100 mega test or whatever it is. If I did that, I'd be fucking on my ass, mate. My wrist would snap if I picked a weight up. And everybody's different, and that's why bodybuilding is so special in itself. Like, we know what the compounds do, but you and me can't take Nath style and look like Nath. But
Exactly.
what I know, they've heard me say this a million times, but I'll say it again. When you find your sweet spot with your cycle, don't fucking change it, tidy everything else up. Like me and Hilly have done over the past few years. I know what I need to take. I know what works for me. Yes, there is a time when I'm heavier again. I will scale that up a little bit more and push the boundaries a little bit. But at the moment in time, I don't need to do that. So I just stick to the same premise. And then, like Hilly said, or you boy said, I'll use those specific compounds to create a reaction. Like, if I'm trying to change the texture of my skin, I'll increase the trend. If I'm trying to get a little bit harder, keep the training performance up, I'll put DHB in. Does that make sense? I'm using those compounds specifically. If I flatten out, I'll put a bit of anadrol in on those push days with my high days just to keep a bit fuller. It's just a game of fucking chess, isn't it, really, with chemicals?
It is. I think that's just, boys. It's a very
Yeah.
good fucking podcast. Lots of
Smashed
questions
it.
for it.